I graduated during COVID years, so it was very limited, like in-person events and opportunities to get involved and actually meet more people face-to-face. In terms of how I tried to understand what was out there and available, definitely reaching out to the right people, growing your network on social media, trying to understand exactly what you want to do and then taking the next step, trying to figure out how you want to get there. It doesn't all have to make sense at the beginning, but just slowly doing online research, trying to understand what you like, and then slowly working towards that goal. And of course, if there are lots of opportunities right now at university, I highly recommend you guys take the opportunity to attend these events and then grow your network.
What I did was focus on networking and being around the right people and trying to learn from them. I always try to be around people who are passionate about software engineering, who are looking towards new technologies and trying to really be on top of what's going on in the industry at the moment. So just being around and being part of this community was what made really big impact on me, because that really broadened my horizons and I learned about many things that I was not aware that even are a thing.
I attended a lot of employability events. I attended this same panel we used at US. At least for Kent Development, the course leader organizes a lot of activities, brings industry experts and things like that, so I always made sure to attend and take advantage of those opportunities. I also undertook a student placement from which I got my current position. I found it important for me the career mentor. The career mentor coached me for how to do interviews and things like that, which got me the job at the end.
I think I will focus more on certain modules, those that were involved with working with other people. So for example, the group project we had was really important, and I just realized after finding a job how many opportunities were in this project that I missed because I was not aware at the time. I will also be involved more in the social life of the university, just to be here, spend more time here, try to be around people more and just have really interesting conversations and try to broaden my horizons and get involved more in the events that are organized by Western staff.
I would definitely say speak up more. The group work is super important. When you go into employment, you will be working within teams, high-paced teams. There will be people who are project managing. You will need to be part of that. When I was at investments in group work, I would just stick whatever position there was rather than speaking up and say, do you know what, I want to lead this project. I want to do this. Because essentially that is what's going to get you recognized, and it took a long time for me to build my confidence to be able to speak up in meetings, push back on certain things, and those things are all learned. So the sooner that you're able to speak up and build that confidence, the better.
I was extremely lucky, so I think I'm this outlier in terms of interview processes, because I sent maybe like 3 or 4 CVs and I got a lot of offers. But that didn't really help with my biggest problem, which was huge imposter syndrome. I thought I'm not good enough. It took me a year to realize that I'm actually a good software developer. While going to the interviews, I was not thinking that I am the right person to be there. I didn't have enough confidence in my skills and knowing what I'm doing, and I thought that it's all happening by some accident. And it turned out afterwards that actually the environment I was working in, the people were really friendly, really open. So the place I ended up with was like really helpful towards starting my career and helping me out a bit. So it all turned out to be not as difficult as I thought it was, but just because I was putting a lot of this extra pressure on myself. But my biggest problem was getting rid of the imposter syndrome and realizing I'm going in a good direction.
When I was a graduate and I went straight into trying to look for graduate jobs or employment at companies, it took me by surprise. Sometimes you don't realize how difficult interview processes can be, and the interview process can vary depending on what company you're applying for. They will ask you various types of questions, definitely scenario-based questions. It's important that you gain the practice, so having great mentors is super important because they can guide you through that process, particularly if interviews are scenario-based or if they're technical-based. It's super important that you get that experience ahead of time, so it's not like a big shock to you when you are taking these interviews, and every interview that you do take, learn from it.
Good practices on how to build a CV, because I think that really sticks out. You don't necessarily need to have all the skills, but there are some key skills that you do have right now. So really just sitting down and thinking about what can go on this paper and what would really stand out. From my personal experience when applying, it did take a couple of months, and again, it's like every time there is a pushback, just not becoming demotivated, but to actually come back more strong and think, no, I will succeed next time. And really just practicing, on Christine's point, just really going online and searching things out, having a career mentor to give you that advice, and really practicing those skills so it's easier when it comes to exam questions during the interview or technical questions. So I think just practicing is perfect, really.
I like that I kept working very cool games because it's game development, and I kept working some more games that I play myself, so I really like that. And I like to understand how those games work and behind the scenes. What I dislike is some of these games have a relatively old code base from like 2004, 2006. Sometimes you have a lot of issues researching or understanding how it works. You cannot like Google how it works. You have to get into the code and search how everything connects.
I'm a consultant in working in the cybersecurity practice at my company. The one thing I really enjoy about my role is that I get to learn a lot of different cyber topics. I know it sounds a bit nerdy, but I do enjoy learning a lot about different cyber topics. And especially now that we've got AI, there's a lot more to learn. There's so many challenges that come with it. So I think it's really interesting because it keeps you going, and there's always something to learn, and there's always something new happening. One thing I say could be better, I think, working hours, because you tend to work with clients who are like based across the globe, so you really have to tailor your diary based on when they're available. So I think sometimes you can finish very late and you can start very early.
I'm a senior client solutions manager at Microsoft AI, so I work on the generative AI side, so it's super exciting time to work there. I don't really have anything negative to say, to be honest. I really enjoy my job. I work in the sales department, so it's always fun making money, but hours can be long, working in sales can be turbulent. Those turbulent times can sometimes be difficult, but the rewards are great. Think about what you enjoy, think about what your strengths are, what type of roles are out there that align with what you enjoy and what you want to learn. The industry is moving fast, so what are you keen to learn? If you just want to apply for every job out there, just because you like one or two things, it's just not going to work. Be intentional about the jobs that you're applying for, be intentional about who you are, your values, what you want to learn, and the type of companies that you want to work for. I should back to basics when I was where you were. So in my final year, I looked at every single module that I've done over the last 2 years. I literally put a line across what I hated and a circle against what I loved, or what was it about those that I liked. And that's then how I started narrowing things down to jobs, industries, and companies, and kind of built myself plans. These are the companies I want to work for, and within 5 years I worked for them.
Definitely reach out to the right people, have the right connections. Don't hesitate to reach out and ask them questions about what they're doing in their day-to-day jobs, and again, explain how you would also want to do something similar. Just be very open about what it is that interests you, and then just really having that one open door and then being able to go through. It's just about having one foot in the door, really, in the day.
The most important thing is to be in a career that you're going to wake up and you'll be happy to go to your work. And that will be something you're looking forward to. I mean, I've been in places when I hated my work, and that was the worst time of my life. So really, when you're trying to find your career, think about what you really love, because all of those things will help you out and be dream a little bit as well, in the sense that try to come up with what would you like your life to look, and then do steps that will get you there eventually.
I would say you have to be motivated to learn by yourself. The university can help you a lot, but you also have to keep learning even once you get the job. So you do your own projects, research, be motivated to keep improving your skills.